Today I got two new knives to show you guys, so if you're not into knives, you're not into EDC stuff, or you're in the wrong place, get the hell out. The first one is the Berg Blades Iron Pup. So Berg Blades is a really cool designer all around. The Iron Wolf itself, which I wish I still had, was just too freaking large for me. It was real boxy, real large. It was about a 4-inch knife. Well, this is kind of the next step down, and it's a huge step down. This is the Berg Blades Iron Pup. This is basically your titanium frame lock. There's no milling on the inside of this knife, but there is some nice rounded edges, some nice chamfering going on here. We do have a pretty decent looking back spacer, a pocket clip that kind of fits the design, some cool little milling here instead of your typical frame lock, where they just take a huge chunk out. An over-travel stainless steel insert so that you don't have steel riding on titanium, creating that galling effect. In hand, it's a little small. As you can see, my pinky's coming off a little bit in the end, but it is a nice little blade. We have this nice drop point, almost a clip point style with the way this wedge kind of comes down, adding strength to the tip of that blade. The finish on this blade is absolutely gorgeous. It has this nice little stonewash finish, and this blade is an M390. It's a really cool little knife. And as you can see here next to the TRM Atom, it is definitely a little knife. It's not quite tiny, but it's still smaller than the Benchmade Bug Out. All in all, this is a pretty sweet little knife, but for $300, I'm not quite sure that it meets that price point and all the competition that's there. It is a knife that if you can get for $200, I think is fantastic. But again, first impressions. Action on it is incredibly smooth, but not quite drop shut. That's the Berg Blades Iron Pup. Next on the list is a knife that I had no expectations of loving, and this thing just so far is amazing and having a tough time staying out of my pocket. That is the Miguron AM8 Flix. This is an M390 drop point style blade with the swedge that carries almost the full length of the blade. There you can see the Miguron logo. And as you go through here, it does have this beautiful titanium bolster lock with this beautiful shred carbon fiber. The pocket clip is pretty generic, but it still fits the bill. It's nice. And then we have this bolster lock going on here that just looks amazing. There's nothing special about the backspacer, but it looks pretty good. There is no milling on the inside, but there is a stainless steel insert with an over-travel stop. On this side of the blade, you might be wondering why'd they do a fuller on one side. Because this knife is a fidget monster. You can front flip it, and then the action is damn near drop shut. You can reverse flick it, and it feels great. This knife is incredible. And then in hand, oh my goodness, did you nail this choke up point without the flipper tab, making this such an amazing knife. This is a knife for $190 that, in my opinion, so far at first impressions, is so tough to compete with at that price point. I am not quite sure I can think of a knife for that price that I like more than the Miguron AM8 Flix. Again, first impressions. Here you can see it next to the Berg Blades Iron Pup. The Iron Pup being $300, and this knife being $190 to $200. Now you can kind of see how I don't feel that this is worth $300 versus something like this. The materials are very similar, but gosh, in hand, is it not even close. All these edges are knocked down so nicely, and then you have some scalloping on the show side of the bolster so that you can access the bolster lock itself. And the bolster lock has this gentle jimping going on it, as well as the scalloping, so you're not gonna miss it. The AM8 Flix definitely is worth the price of $190 just on first impressions. The Berg Blades Iron Pup is definitely one that is really well constructed, but I'm not quite sure warrants a $300 price point.